Matthew Shepard, a young man, gay man, killed for being gay. To many people in the LGBT community, a real martyr, and the subject of the Laramie Project. Today we're speaking with Sara Staley, director of the Laramie Project, 10 years on.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday when we heard that story and saw the images of that fence in Wyoming.
It's been quite a 10 years.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, the Tectonic Theater Company that created the Laramie Project initially went to Wyoming a month after the murder, so it was pretty soon after all this happened, to conduct interviews with the townspeople to get their reaction. So, of course, 10 years, a lot's happened in this country, not only in Laramie, so they wanted to go back and see not only how the town has changed, but how that event has changed the town.
Right. And for some people who might not be familiar with the murder of Matthew Shepard, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, he was basically brutally beaten and left tied to a fence in Wyoming, and he didn't actually pass on the fence. Someone did find him, and he was in a hospital for 6 days before he passed away on October 12th, 1998. He was taken by two men, picked up by two men in a bar, two young men, and some people say it's a robbery, some people say it was a drug deal gone bad. That's actually what the 10 Years Later play talks about a lot, is new theories that have surfaced around why. Of course, what a lot of people believe is it was hate-related on the part of one young man, Aaron McKinney, who's now serving 2 life terms.
Right. I mean, it was one of those murders that certainly in the LGBT community we'll never forget. I remember where I was when I heard it, and it sparked a movement. And of course, Matthew Shepard's mother became quite an impassioned spokesperson for, well, humane treatment of young gay people.
Absolutely.
What is it like going back to Laramie now? They probably feel like some of those towns that are associated with horrible incidents, like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and they're like, are we ever going to get away from this? Will Laramie always be associated with this?
I think so. I think a lot of the townspeople in the play comment on the stigma and the exhaustion from that stigma. And it's funny, even in rehearsal the other night, I said to my actors, you know, we're able to walk away from this at the end of the night and do other things in our lives. We're portraying these people on stage where this world, this event, this town is their lives. You know, they can't just walk away from it. But a lot of the characters in the play do talk about that want or need to move on.
Right. What is it like going back there? I mean, do you ever meet any people who just go, well, just leave us alone?
As far as the townspeople go, yeah, absolutely. There's actually, it's almost a comical short scene in the first act where the two of the company members arrive in Laramie. They try to interview just a cowboy they meet on the street, and they get nothing in return. So I'm sure they got that a lot through the process of their interviews. There was varying degrees as to how people wanted to open up about this event. Right.
It reminds me, I haven't seen the play, but hearing you speak of it, it reminds me of a play that came out of the Harvey Milk George Moscone murders, Execution of Justice. And for so many people that was just, you know, do we have to relive this on stage? I mean, what's the use of reliving this on stage? Now again, more than 10 years on.
The need to tell the story because of what we've learned from this story. One of the good things about the Laramie Project 10 years later is hearing how some of the community members who are gay are able to be more open about it. There's some who admit to being homophobic who've completely changed their way of thinking after this event. So one of the characters even comments that, you know, it's not so much even about Matthew anymore. One of his friends who knew him closely says, I have to separate the Matt I knew from Matthew Shepard, this event, this movement.
Because now he's become an icon.
Exactly, exactly. So, and she comments on the need to keep telling the story so that new generations are learning from it and embracing that movement of equal opportunity and rights for all. And that's something that Matthew wanted as well.
Right. Now, Matthew Shepard's mother, still alive, still with us?
Sure.
And what is she like now?
Well, she appears in the play. She didn't appear in the first one. And I think what I take away about her experience the most is her sadness in the first play, and in the epilogue there's more of an anger underneath it because of things that haven't changed as far as the LGBT movement goes.
Because Laramie's a small town.
Oh, sure. And, you know, a lot of this play is about the rumor and innuendo that circled because of all these other reasons that people think the murder happened. And, of course, Judy's belief and a lot of people's belief is still that it was mainly hate-related.
Right. What is it, you know, you're now going to be doing this play in the next few weeks in places like Fresno, California, and Modesto. i.e. not the Castro, not
right.
not West Hollywood.
Right.
What do you think the reaction is going to be like?
Yeah, well, we'll have our run at New Conservatory Theater in March and April.
In
and
San
then
Francisco.
In San Francisco, correct. And then we're launching a new program at the New Conservatory Theater called Pride on Tour. And so June being a big Pride Month in a lot of communities, we're hoping to engage with those communities through presenting this play.
Do you think you're going to get any reaction from the LGBT community going, no, Matthew Shepard's an icon, he's a martyr, I don't want to hear about him being killed for some other reason? What do you...
Oh, gosh. I hope not. I think, you know, there's something aside from the murder. The play deals with the Defense of Marriage Act. It deals with, you know, there's a mention in Prop 8 in California. So it's dealing with a lot of issues that we've all been affected by over the last 10 years that the Matthew Shepard murder kind of spurred the conversation around. So I think there's chance for more conversation around these issues through seeing the play and talking about it further.
What's it been like working on it for you personally?
It's a challenge. We have a fantastic cast of 4 women, 4 men, but they're playing over 30 characters. And so just the logistics of getting people in and out of different moments. They're not even called scenes in the Laramie Project, they're moments, and some of them happen very quickly. An actor might be one character on one page and changing into another character on the next page or the same page. So
there's a lot of people on and off stage, left and stage right.
So logistically it's a complicated piece, and then emotionally, of course, it's a complicated piece, not only for the actors involved, but for everyone in the process.
Do we meet Matthew Shepard?
We don't, no. Well, we meet him through his mother, I think. We get a good glimpse into who he was and who he wanted to be. So, and she comes towards the end of the play. So I think it's a good... The play doesn't offer a lot of closure for us as audience members because there's...
That's a difficult sort of play to direct.
It is.
People like coming to the theater and going, boy, I feel better, or I'm upset.
Sure. One of the big questions that the Tectonic Company asks is, how do we measure change? And it's something we're constantly still trying to do. So it's not something we can tie up in a neat little bow, but Judy's perspective does give us some closure at the end of the play.
Right. You know, we're living in a time when now LGBT violence gets broadcast on YouTube. You have people harassing young people via Twitter and then leading to suicides. Doesn't that seem kind of strange? I mean, 15 years almost after, 14 years after Matthew Shepard. I think a lot of people thought, boy, this is gonna make people realize we have to treat our LGBT youth differently.
Another one of my positions at the New Conservatory Theater is director of their Youth Aware program. So I've been educating young people around these issues for the last 10 years. I've been there since 2001, and I would like to say I've seen a big change, but unfortunately, you know, LGBT identity or just trying to figure out your identity is one of the main reasons that young people still decide to put each other down, to pick on each other. And now it's, you know, it's a big thing in the media because suddenly all these suicides have come to light, but it's something that kids have been dealing with, you know, for much longer than the media coverage has been
I know
happening.
just from speaking with people who've worked with Lyric and other LGBT youth groups that the suicide rate among LGBT young people has always been far above the national norm. So this Youth Aware program, this is for LGBT youth, or it's LGBT youth talking to non-gay young people?
It's adult professional actors talking to school groups. So we actually see a lot of kids in San Francisco Unified, and we've also been touring these programs in Central and Northern California. So this isn't a program
for gay kids. This is a program for...
For any kid. There's school-wide assemblies to educate about diversity and respect for all, and also on school safety legislation in California, which we do have some.
How far ahead is California when it comes to these issues? I mean, what can California teach Wyoming?
We definitely are doing well in terms of legislation. There's more we can be doing, but I think we're ahead of the game just in terms of protecting their students. Educating them about the fact that they're protected, we still have some steps to go with that, and so that's one of the things we try to do with Youth Aware is just let young people know that there are laws in place to protect them. They just need to tell the right person. Right. Sometimes in these communities where these kids aren't supported, they'll tell someone and nothing's done to stop the harassment, and that's a problem, obviously.
Have you ever had anyone have a negative reaction to one of your Youth Aware programs in the schools?
Sure. And, you know, a lot of folks think that with this kind of education there's an agenda, and I always say our only agenda is just to make sure that every kid feels safe and respected in schools, no matter who they are or what they believe in.
Right. I mean, anything specific that someone said to you?
We are running a show right now at New Conservatory called Cootie Shots that deals with bullying for grades 2 through 5. And we did have a parent come through as a chaperone last year, and there's a scene in Cootie Shots called the Princess Petunia. And Petunia doesn't want to marry Prince Poppy, she wants to marry Princess Violet. And at the end of the play, the king says that she can marry whoever she loves. And, you know, there's a lot of kids in San Francisco Unified that have gay parents, and so we want to support that diversity through Youth Aware. We did have a dad come in that was very upset that we were teaching kids that was an okay thing through that particular scene.
And what did you say to him?
Just that, again, there are many kids in San Francisco Unified with gay parents, and they deserve to feel safe and respected at school just like anyone else does, regardless of what their family situation is.
Thank you for your work. We've been speaking with Sara Staley of the Laramie Project, 10 years on. I'm David Perry. You've been watching 10%. Thanks so much.